There's a trend that psychopathic killers oftentimes think that playing the victim card will help them get away with their crimes. Thankfully, they're always incorrect about this, as investigators eventually find out when they slip up and reveal their true nature.
Zach never mentioned one time killing him.
I never wanted to hurt anybody. But I am an honest person, I'm not a liar.
This incident occurred on May 3rd of 2013 when a man named Harvey Ray Smith suddenly disappeared from his home in Florida. Less than 24 hours later, his lifeless body was found in the trunk of his car behind a Motel 6 in Pensacola. Investigations eventually showed that he had been murdered, and officers eventually found their primary suspect, Deborah Leanne Bird.
Thursday, you were sitting there at the house with him, right?
Right.
Okay, what happened after that?
We just hang out at the house. There's not really much you could do out there, you know.
An officer interrogates the suspect as they realize that she's the last person who had made contact with Ray. She informs the officer that she never left her house the day that Ray was murdered.
Let me explain something to you, okay? You're saying you think, okay? I'm telling you I know.
I know.
Okay? So there's two things I've told you. Help yourself and tell me the truth, and let's get this straightened out and help you, okay? There's no use you sitting here telling me a damn lie when I know different. Be honest. Help yourself, girl. You got an opportunity to tell the truth and help yourself, and you'd rather sit here and lie to me. Help yourself. This is your opportunity to tell the truth. Get it off your chest of what happened.
I don't want to be away with my kid.
Hey, then help you talk. Tell me what you know. When you sit.
Eventually, the suspect's story doesn't add up, and an officer instructs her to be honest. She eventually begins crying as the officer speaks.
That's the
It's very
reason.
possible.
But you're missing what I'm saying.
I know.
That's the reason he came out there, was so he could be robbed, right? Is that a yes?
Zach never mentioned one time killing him.
Leanne?
He went and grabbed one of my dad's tools and said that he was going to hit him in the head with it. I'm not sure where this...
The suspect would eventually confess to being an accomplice to Ray's murder because she was the one who had convinced Ray to come to a certain location. Deborah was sentenced to 15 years in prison, while her boyfriend and accomplice Zach was sentenced to life in prison. The incident shown here involves a woman named Samantha Wolford, a young mother who alleges that her husband was kidnapped during a home invasion. She immediately calls the police to report the crime, but doesn't show any urgency in having her husband found. Officers arrived at the scene shortly after the call and began investigating the incident.
They cut my shirt off, and then after they made me stand there naked in front of him, threatening to do things to me. The guy said,
You were outside or here inside?
I was in the living room.
The living room?
When they took me to the living room, he said, "Get your shirt and get it quick, because I'm not this type of person." So I started rummaging through my closet. He said, "I said get it quick," and pushed the knife against my...
Officers are shown arriving at the scene and speaking to Samantha. She narrates what happened to her, but barely talks about her missing husband.
Memory of what's going on.
Well, I took an Ambien, so it makes it a little harder for me to wake up. And I have a prescription with me if you want to see that. But when I can't sleep, it's supposed to shut your brain off so you can go to sleep, but also make it to where you can wake up fairly easy.
And inevitably, the suspect's story starts to change. She tells the investigator that she took sleeping medication, but she described the home invasion in detail.
I didn't take him seriously.
Okay, you see, Sam, you know who did this, but that does not make
But I
you
don't
guilty.
have any proof that he did. I just have what he said.
Okay, who is this guy?
His name's John.
The sheriff talks to the suspect, who eventually says a man was talking about dealing with her husband. Further investigation eventually showed that Samantha planned the entire ordeal. She was arrested and charged with aggravated kidnapping and murder. Samantha Wolford was sentenced to 99 years for murder and received another 50 years for kidnapping. This interrogation incident occurred as a result of police receiving a 911 call on August 31st of 2010. A 33-year-old woman named Jennifer Neeb called the police to report that masked intruders had broken into her house and shot her husband, James Neeb. Officers arrive at the residence and find James dead in his own bed. They begin investigating immediately and are shocked by some of the clues that they begin to piece together.
Tuesday morning. Do you remember where you were at?
Not exactly. I believe I was at work.
Even Jen had mentioned, in her statements, well, you really should go and talk with my ex because, I think he's somebody that you should really look into.
Jennifer blames a man named Paul, her ex-boyfriend, for the murder of her husband. Investigators call Paul and he informs law enforcement that he was nowhere near the scene.
I never wanted to hurt anybody. But I am an honest person. I'm not a liar. And I've always taught that to my son. But I've become that person. I've become that liar that finding excuses why I'd be late for work and stuff. And a lot of it was the meds. A lot of it was the...
Further investigation showed that Jennifer was not happy in her relationship with James. It also shows that she and her husband got a $250,000 life insurance policy just a month prior to James dying. This gave the police a reason to arrest Jennifer. The suspect blamed most of her actions on her addiction to prescription medications.
It was like I was there, but I wasn't.
Like you were not in your person watching yourself do something and...
Saying it was the devil. Get rid of it.
Was there voices telling you that? Did you feel like you were hallucinating?
I don't know.
This incident occurred in August of 2006, when a man named Robert Wong was found dead and sexually assaulted. Wong had decided to spend the night with his friend Joseph Price, including Price's two partners, Victor Zaborski and Dylan Ward. Upon arriving at the scene, officers realized that there was no forced entry into the building, and there was no struggle between Wong and the attacker.
Fingerprinting that knife, somebody jumped our fence and went through that door. You'd use to tell you what I know. We have an alarm system. Or the alarm was on, it has a function where the doors chime if you open the doors, or they will lock. After Robert was there, we had drinks around, sink. Went upstairs, we showed Robert where the shower was, or the bathroom was, right down the hall. Here's the bed. We'd already made out the pull-out bed for him. We said goodnight. He said he was going to take a shower, not then. It was all sticky.
Investigators talked to Price, who insists that someone jumped over their fence and broke into their house.
You still have, close friends connection with them. Email you. I'm supposed to go to dinner with him the other day, so that's why I asked you, do you lunch?
Yeah, no, I was no.
You never had anything with feelings for Rock?
None other than the kind of feelings you would have for a very good friend. Yeah, like. Not attracted to him. Never been. And I don't have any doubts Robert was straight in the day of longer.
The investigators seem pretty certain that Price had feelings for Wong. Price, however, claims that he never had such feelings and only viewed Wong as a friend.
I had what surprised me. The front door, 99.9% sure that door was locked. It's a bullet. I said, I haven't looked at other things, but it locks by itself. He had to push a button on the side of the door to keep it from automatically locking. So I'd like to think it was the deadbolt. I might have been turned it, but maybe.
Unfortunately, no one was charged for the murder of Robert Wong. However, in late 2008, the three men were charged with obstruction of justice and tampering with the crime scene. This incident involves the interrogation of a woman who was responsible for killing her father and her own daughter. The suspect's daughter was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. The suspect's boyfriend also threatened to leave if she didn't handle the situation, and she was determined to keep her relationship. So our suspect would take her daughter to her father's house where she would shoot and stab both of them.
Yourself every time he yells at you because he's been abusive. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So was he abusive when you dropped Meredith off? Or just verbally?
Yeah, he verbally and then he punches and throws things. And he said that you're a horrible mom for just dropping your kid off and leaving. Like your mother. You're just like your mother. You drop your kid off and you leave her. And I'm like, now I ask you to take her.
The suspect claims that her father has been abusive to her since she was a little child. She also claims that he was verbally abusive when she would go to drop her daughter off at his house.
Yeah.
Then how'd you lift him out of the Suburban into the shed?
I put Meredith down first and I just slid Daddy down on top.
He's on top of hers?
Yes. Yeah. I just got scared. I didn't know what to do. And
officers asked the suspect how she moved her dad and her daughter into the truck after killing them.
So how did it really play out? Why were you angry? I'm sure he was being rude with you or saying stuff to you or being mean to you. But I don't believe he got on top of you with a knife. I don't believe that happened.
yes, he did.
Evidence.
One investigator doesn't believe the suspect's story and asks her to tell the truth, saying that it wouldn't have been easy for her to disarm someone that was attacking her with a knife. The suspect would eventually be sentenced to life in prison without possibility of parole. Thanks very much for watching this video and sticking around. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it.